Good morning. You know how sometimes you can have situations that feel totally hopeless, and then in an instant, in a split second, some little glimmer of hope comes along. It can be in the simplest things. So good morning, I'm Mark Bannon. Welcome to my video blog. I am out for my morning jog in the foothills of Colorado. And I was thinking about that today, because there's not one of us, anyone on the planet Earth, that hasn't experienced hopelessness of some sort or another. And so for me, I'll share a little story. When I was little, we went from sort of riches to rags. At 8 years old, my life was kind of thrown on its head, and we went from being pretty well off to being pretty poor. And there were times that were just dire. I was 8, 9 years old, my brother and I. We worked very hard. There were, just sort of dire situations. At the time, my mom was a waitress back in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And if she got an extra tip, if someone gave her a little extra tip, because we really didn't have money to spare, she would buy a giant box of Cocoa Puffs and a gallon of milk. And she would come home and she would bring that cereal home to my brother and I. And in the midst of despair, in the midst of feeling really, stressed out and worried and so forth, she would put this box of Cocoa Puffs down. And in that instant, there was this glimmer of hope. Everything sort of washed away. We would eat this just delicious chocolatey goodness, sweetness, big smiles on our face, and we would devour the entire box of Cocoa Puffs. And that became a tradition for us. So when things were dire, and they were for many years, there were several years we lived like that, she would come home with these Cocoa Puffs. And it would just give this glimmer of hope. And so I'm just wondering for you, number one, what is the glimmer of hope that reminds you that things can change in an instant? And so for me, it's 3 steps. The plan for me was sort of 3 steps. First, remembering that things can and will change. Second, it's talking to people about it. It's sharing your stories. It's asking for help. It's doing whatever it is that we need to do to get through these periods of hopelessness that we may experience and will experience in our lifetime. And then the third thing for me is really faith. And it's doubling down, tripling down on faith, because at the end of the day, when you hang on to that faith, that things will change. You've experienced it, you've felt it. So I was just thinking about that out on my morning jog here as the sun was coming up over the hill. I wanted to share that with you. So anyway, have a great day, and thanks for joining me on my little hike. Thank you.